As a Dark Magician player, there aren't too many cards you can consistently rely on. But when it works, it works. This is the double-edged sword that is playing this deck. But time and time again, there's been one card I could always rely on. One card that can get the job done. One card that's never let me down. Super Poly. Oh yeah, and Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. With the new Ryziel and Malice Core sets out and running wild in the TCG, it feels like Dark Magician is being left behind and forgotten with every new release. With consistency of new set releases comes a new challenge to try to keep Dark Magician relevant, which was already a challenge long ago. Enter the Blind Second build. This is nothing new. I did not reinvent the wheel, but with the challenge of staying relevant persists when your opponent sets up multiple negates with monsters in back row. Call this toxic, call it cheap, I don't care. With numerous ways to out my single boss monster, which some of my opponents did last night, I do believe this is the best way to play Dark Magician with the ever-evolving format and a card pool that matches. Not much has changed since my last video of the deck profile, with the exception of Black Meteor Dragon for follow-up and Spellbound, so my opponent can't use their field as materials. Black Meteor Dragon allows you to follow up for a possible second Dragoon on its full resolution. If you do get a Dragoon out, which is preferred but not always optimal first turn, a second one is almost always detrimental. Spellbound is a card I randomly found shuffling through my bulk, and boy, it did not disappoint, especially when every deck now wants to Xyz or Link. So we did run 2 copies of Dark Magician, as well as 2 copies of Red Eyes Black Dragon, and the 1 Red Eyes Black Meteor Dragon that we did sub out. This card is phenomenal for follow-up on your next turn, and it helps you get a Red Eyes Fusion into your hand. This is, I would argue, a must for any Turbo Dragoon build that you're planning on running. These are the only 5 monsters that we run in the main deck, and unfortunately, we did see some of these cards in our hand a couple of the duels, and my last duel that I had for fun against a Ryziel player, I actually opened with 2 Dark Magicians, a Red Eyes, Black Meteor Dragon, and I think it was like a Talents or something like that. So unfortunately, these are the cards that you don't want to see, but when you don't see them, I think you're going to be really happy with the rest of the profile. So to continue, we ran 3 copies of Red Eyes Insight, 3 copies of Red Eyes Fusion, and that is it for the Red Eyes package. We ran 2 copies of Book of Eclipse, 3 copies of Book of Moon, and 2 copies of Swords of Concealing Light. These were our flip cards. These are great for opponents not being able to activate their effects or use them in any other capacity. And when it becomes our turn, we can simply just pop their monsters and burn them for damage, which is probably the biggest strat for this deck, to be honest. 3 Super Polys, very useful. Definitely recommend these because there are turns where you don't get a Dragoon or a way to Dragoon. And if you have a Super Poly, you just make your monsters in your extra deck with their monsters, which we did make Predaplant, which is an amazing card. Mud Dragon, another amazing card, as well as Garura, which we do run. Magical Eyes Fusion, 2 more fusion cards that we have. A great way to get a second Dragoon if you don't have access to the Red Eyes Fusion or Meteor Dragon that's in the grave to get you another ref. You can simply use the materials in your graveyard, banish them, and make another Dragoon. We did this a few weeks ago. We did not do this week, but I still believe it's an amazing card. We could probably run it at 1. I'm not too sure what else we can cut. I have a few ideas, but we'll get to that later. Triple Tactics Thrust. No pun intended. 2 Talents. 2 Forbidden Droplets. 2 Lightning Storm. 2 Cosmics. 2 Dark Hole. The 2 Spellbound. This is some cards that we added. This card states, all face-up monsters your opponent currently controls cannot be tributed or used as material for fusion, synchro, Xyz, or link summon until the end of this turn. So it's a great staller, a phenomenal disruption, especially with the new Ryzeal stuff. Everyone wants to link an Xyz away, but they can't because of this card, so it's a phenomenal card. I recommend it to everyone. And then our 2 traps is there can only be one and Torrential Tribute. And that was it. I think we can cut this card. We didn't really use it. I'll have to figure out what we can sub it for. But other than that, it's a tight 40 build. I'm very happy with it. And real quick, we'll move on to the extra deck so I can show you guys some of the super poly targets as well as our beautiful QCR Dragoon that we do run and do play. The 2 Garua, the 1 Predaplant. Predaplant has an amazing effect that I did not realize, and that is it puts a Predaplant counter on a card that it targets, and that card becomes a level 1, and it cannot activate its effects. And it becomes a level 1 no matter what level it is. Great disruption, great card, and it's pretty beefy, 2,700. The 1 Mud Dragon, the Earth Golem for anybody playing Cybers, the Dark Magician, Blackluster Soldier, and SP Little Knight. And that is it for the extra deck, you guys. I did not run a side deck. I need to work on that. That's one of my goals for 2025 is being more prepared instead of bringing just the cards that I'm playing in the main deck and the extra deck. All in all, I am very happy with how the deck performs. People tend to get nervous when you don't interact with them on their turn, and it's a sight to see. Remember, this is just my take on this build. Machi did a great variation of Turbo Dragoon with Sky Striker, and that is what inspired my build. I'm just too lazy to learn Sky Striker. If you think there is a more optimal way to run Turbo Dragoon build, please let me know down in the comment section below. I've tried other variations of Turbo Dragoon build, and this is by far my best variation. My first matchup was a Fiendsmith Ryzeal player, who I believe was his first time playing the deck. I fault him not for his misplays and cheating because he did not fully understand the effects of his cards. But that being said, it just felt a little bit sweeter going 2-0 against him. He's a great guy and a great opponent. My second game was against Ogdotic Raika. Never seen it, never played it. We took about 40 minutes for game 1, and I possibly could have lived longer if I didn't get my own life points lower with Cosmic Cyclone. We went into the second game with about 5 minutes left, but it feels really nice flipping his cards face down using Spellbound. Games 3 and 4, my opponents conceded who played Drytrons and Ubel Cash. And at the end of the night, I played a fellow duelist running Fiendsmith Ryzeal for the fun of it. Game 1, he beat me with my own Dragoon using his triple talents. Game 2, I nuked his field with Dark Hole after flipping his cards face down. We made a gentleman's agreement to keep it 1-1, and we'll have our rematch soon. If you made it this far in the video, I will tell you now that some cards will be arriving in the mail shortly for a new profile I'm working on, and it does include Dragon Master Magia. So stick around for that new profile and crafting. Tell me what you think the best build for that could be, and turn on the bell notifications. That way you'll be the first to see Magia and Dragoon on the board at locals. As always, thank you all so much, and have a great day.